Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about session. So in Laravel Session, what is the Laravel Session? So before we continue, you guys go ahead and start your Laravel with the PHP Artisan Serve. In the previous video we have learned how to create a form. So we're going to come here about the session. Alright, so in Laravel Session is a way to store data across multiple requests made by user. When a user requests a Laravel application, a session starts automatically for the user. The session data is stored on the server, and a small cookie with the unique identifier is sent to the user browser to identify the session. When you guys go here, and for example in your application, and if you have a login, say for example if this is a login or register form, so users instead of looking here, instead of users form, if you put a login form, our register form here. So when you guys let the user come into your website and you authenticate, for example if you're registering the user, you guys when the user registers and creates an ID whatever, it goes in the database, and you guys go ahead with and you guys create your CSRF token, and when the user goes inside your website, the Laravel creates a source session for the user. So the session is going to be active for the entire whenever the user is going to be inside your website. So when the user exits your website, this Laravel destroys that session. With the help of session, you can create an e-commerce website. Say for example if the user goes ahead and select one product or two product or three product from each categories, from many categories, so the user session remembers that. So if you go inside the Laravel, if you instead of if you come here in the config, and if you look in here all the way here, queue service, and you can see the session here. So the session, the driver here, you can see the driver, and the session driver, and the driver is a file. So what's the driver? They specified the default session driver to use, and the Laravel uses several session drivers like a file, cookie, database, APC, memcache, Redis, Dynamo, and DynamoDB, and array. And if you're looking underneath the lifetime, that's how long. Here you can specify the number of minutes that you wish to the session to be allowed to remain idle before it expires. That's very self-explanatory by Laravel. And session encryption here. This option allows you to easily specify that all of your session data should be encrypted before it is stored. So encrypt is false, and you can turn it to true in production. And we're looking at the files, session file location. When using the native session driver, we need a location where session files may be stored. So where is the session files? If you look in here, storage path framework session. So if you're coming down here, storage, so if you're looking here for public, you're going to see routes, storage, and then you go looking here for framework, and that's your session here. This is all our sessions here that Laravel is created, for example now. So if you look in here, you guys might see many sessions here. You not necessarily going to see one, because I just started Laravel. You guys might see a lot of sessions, for example, in your Laravel, already stored in your Laravel. So if you're looking for testing, there's none here. For view, there's few here, but that's how Laravel stores all the session data in the like this. You cannot see this one. This is the Laravel understand this one. It's not for humans readable, but Laravel knows this one. But as I said, when you guys create your e-commerce or social website, every time the user logs into your website, you guys, with the help of session, you guys can remember how many product the user chosen, how user chose how many products. So for the final bill payment, with the help of the session, you guys go ahead and calculate the user's product, how many user has a product in the cart. And if you look in here further, you guys can read the rest. You guys can see the connection, you guys can see the table, you guys can see the lottery, whatever you guys going to see in the lottery session. Sweeping lottery, some session driver must manually sweep their storage location to get rid of the old session from storage. So that's how it is. And if you want to further see about the sessions, you guys gonna come here inside your .env, and you guys gonna see here the session file, and that's how many minutes is the Laravel, the lifetime of the session, as we've seen here, session.php. If you look in go on top, you guys are gonna see here the number of minutes, which is 120. Have here you can see specify the number of minutes that you wish the session to be allowed to remain idle before it expires. So that's 120, like 2 hours. And if you look in here, you can put it up or down or whatever you want to do, but the default is 120 for Laravel. Alright, so we're going to close this. So how to set a session? For example, we come in here, or you can create a session. For example, your session is going to be, say, I'm here at the route, so we put a session, and inside it's a key value. So wherever you guys are going to put a key, and it's going to be value. That's how you guys going to see set the session. We can set the session, we can retrieve the data from the session, we can remove the session, and we can destroy or flush the session. So there's 4 ways you guys can do that. So now we can store the data. I'm just putting here for store session data. So now whatever the value you guys put inside the session, we can put a session, whatever key you guys put it here. So you guys can recover a key, whatever the value you guys can assign to this value, or we can retrieve the value from the data. You retrieve the data from the session. So how to delete it? So just to delete it, you just put a session, and inside here you just put a forget. And you make sure you guys gonna put your key here. So that's how the Laravel deletes. And if you want to completely flush or completely destroy session, you can put a session, and you can put a flush. Alright, so here in our route we get we are going to remove this, or we can put it a little bit down. So for our controller, so what we're going to do is that we're going to put it later on, and now we're going to create for example session here. So the first one is we're going to put a route, and this one is we're going to get. And what we're gonna get is we're gonna get a, say, for example, session, our session, and this one's we're gonna get. So we're gonna create a controller. So for example, we're gonna put a session controller. Then we're gonna get access, for example, session get session data. Or we can put a get session data. Why I'm putting this one? Because I'm going to create get a session data in the session controller. So I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to put a file, for example session. I'm going to make a controller now. So I'm going to come and look for CMD. And once the CMD is open, I'm gonna go to WAMP, You guys can do the alternative. You guys can go here, hit the Control C, get out, and you guys can perform your operations, whatever, and you can come back. But I prefer to create another one here. So instead of interrupting this guys here, I don't want to interrupt this one. I want to leave it like running. So I'll do my everything is whatever here. So now I am ready. So I'm gonna make a PHP artisan. I'm gonna put a PHP artisan make. I'm gonna put a controller, and I'm gonna put a session controller. So I have pressed enter, and looks like my session controller is going to be ready. So I'm going to create this method here, get session data. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to put here, I'm going to look for the session controller, and if you look in here, I'm going to put a public function, and I'm going to paste this one here. That's the method, the first method that I'm looking for, get session data, because you're now, if you guys gonna put here session get, and then Laravel is gonna look for this method here inside this controller, get session data. So if you put a return, this is your session page data, for example. So if we control save all, and if you go here, get out of here, so we're gonna go on session, and we look for this guy here, session, and we put a get, and we put a get, and that's our message, because Laravel goes here, checks here in this controller, and checks here inside this method. Now we're gonna put another one here. We're gonna put say for example another method. We put a set session data. We put a get, and we put a set or store. We put a set, and here you guys don't forget to create another session for set, because you guys need to set. So I'm gonna put it here, set, and what's your method? You're gonna see here the method is set. So instead of get, the method is set. So we're gonna go and save all, and we're gonna check for the set. So we put a set, and our set is ready too. And the final ones is we're gonna delete, for example. So we're gonna delete, keep in mind you can put a get session, set session, whatever you want to do, but I made it as simple as possible. So you can put a delete or remove. You can put delete, remove session, whatever you want to do. So as long as you guys remember. So now session delete, and you guys need to remember this method. And if you go here, and if you put a public function, it's always a good idea to copy here from instead of trying to type, because you might computer programmers are prone to making typos here. Even small e here and there, your entire program is not going to run. So it's a very good idea for you guys if you copy and you paste it here. So now if you if you put a return, this is session delete, for example. So now if you save all, we are on session delete. Look like session delete is a problem. Then we're gonna go here, delete. Look like there is a problem here in our delete route, and that's been set now. All right, so now we have 3 method and we have 3 routes. Now how we gonna set the session? For example, here, because we are dealing with sessions all around Laravel, because we are sending the session and storing, you guys need to put a request with every method. So here you guys need to put a request, and you guys need to put a request as well. So you guys copy here, and we can put it in all our methods. So if you look in here, every time you guys need the request ID update, because you guys are sending request, you guys need to put a request with, such as when you do store things like that, you guys need the request. So I'm going to close this. Alright, so now how do we store say for example set the sessions? First we're going to look at here. You guys can copy, and we guys want to put it in order. We can put it in order too. We can put it here. So now that's in order. We're going to set, and we're going to get, and we're going to delete. So the first one is we're going to set, and before return you guys need to come here, and you guys need to set. So how do we going to set? We're going to put it with put here. So we're going to say for example request. We're going to use this guy here. We put a request, and then we put a session, and we put a put. And here you guys need to put whatever key value you like, whichever you like. You like your friend's name or your website name. So if, for example, we put a website, and you can put your website is or you can put a Cryowood, for example. Now we have a session now, because we put a key and we're putting a value here in our session. So here now we're gonna return, or we're gonna echo. This session has been set. We're gonna put an echo. This Cryowood session has been set. So if it's been set, then we're gonna see this message. So we're gonna save all, and we're gonna go here, and we're gonna refresh. Alright, so now this one says unexpected. Where is it? Is here. So we have one extra. So keep in mind that Laravel is very sensitive. So we refresh, still there. So we check, and we have put one extra here. So we refresh. So the session is deleted. So now we're going to check set. Now our session, if you look in here, this Cryowood session has been set. So our session has been set. This session is been set here. Now what's our session? Our session is going to be the website, and the key website, and the value is Cryowood. So now we have set the session here, Cryowood. So how about if we gonna get how we gonna get our session? Say for example, so we're gonna put a if we put a session, if request session, if we put a request session, and we put entire here, if we put it here and here, so instead of put we put a has. If our request session has, what it has, this website if the session Laravel have this website, now we put echo, and we put a request session, and we put a get. What we're gonna get? Website, and what's else means we put echo. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to put echo. Sorry, there is no session here. So now we are getting the session. So if we go there and we put a get in our in here, so we have a set. So how about if you go and put a get, we save all, and here we're gonna go here and we try to get our session, and that's our session. And so the session is Crywood. You can make it in here. You can put echo request session website. So for example, a nice message here, and it says your session is, your session name is, then you can put a session name, or you can put a h1 for your session. So you can put a h1, and here you can put a h1 again. So here we refresh, your session name is Crywood. So what I just done here, I just make it very customized. So I put a h1, I put a here the dot here, that's concatenation both sides, and I just put the message before. Okay, so now our session has been set. So how about if we delete our sessions? How are we going to delete our session? As I said before, we delete, we just put a forget. So we put a request session forget, that's it. We put a request, we put a session, and then we put a forget. So which one we're going to forget? We're going to put a website, and then we can put a nice message. We put echo, can wrap it into h2, and we can put a h2, and you can put a your session has been removed. So we can put it here, and now we're destroying our session. So delete, that's how we're going to delete our session, because we're going to put a forget, as I said before. So now if you're going to come and say now our session set, how about if you put a delete, and now our session has been removed. So now if you check, if you put a get, is it get? Is get, because now get, if you want to check, because there is no session here because we haven't set it. So if you put a set, sorry, there is no session here, just like we put it here. But if you set your session, then you can see here, sorry, there is no session here. You can put it into the h1 to make it prominent. So here Now if you refresh it, you're going to see in H1. Sorry, there is no session here. But if you set, for example, you can set something else. You don't need to set here. You can set, for example, your name or your friend's name, or you can set website, for example. You can set my friend's name or my channel name. You can set, for example, President Joe Biden, our name, for example. So you can put your name or your friend's name. You can put yes Danny, I'm going to put my name. You can put your name, for example, here. So here, instead of website, you could just has a name, for example. Just remove the website and you can put the name, because that's a key value, and it works like a dictionary. That's a name, and the name is yes Danny. And every time you guys want to refer, you're referring the key, you're not referring the value. So here you can do exactly the same, because you guys need to refer to the name. And here you save all, and we're gonna go in the set, and I need to stop this. I'm gonna put a 127 8000, and I put a session, and I want to put set, because I want to set the session. The Coraiwood session has been set, so I need to change this one here. The session has been set, so I'm gonna put a session has been set, and if I put a H1, so you might be wondering why I'm gonna put a H1 all the time, and I'm gonna put a H3. So I'm gonna put a H3, and I'm gonna save all. The session has been set, so the session has been set. And if I put a get, for example, if I want to get my session name is yes Danny, because now the Laravel remembers my session. And if I want to remove, you can delete. The session has been removed. Alright, so why the session is so important? The session is important. For example, if the users have purchased a product, for example, you put a product, setting the session for the product. If the user has purchased, for example, shoes, now you guys are making a session for the shoes. For example, if the shoes is for example $50, so now you guys are remembering this $50, and product is shoes, and shoes is $50. So now you guys can put this product in your session. Very, very important, because you guys learning Laravel to go ahead and work with e-commerce websites, and there's no way, if you don't know about the session and you guys go ahead, we can put a product. So now if you want to put a session for the user, if you want to set, you guys gonna set the session for the user. Now the session, and now when the user goes ahead in choose $50, so the user is gonna go ahead to, for example, the payment page. Your session should remember the shoes is $50, and once the user paid, you guys should delete the session. So the three things here. You guys need to set the session. When the user comes into your website, you guys need to set it, and then with the put, you guys need to put, and then when you guys go, the session goes to the user. You guys gonna redirect the user all the way towards payment. When the user goes towards the payment, you guys need to display this session, how much the user owes you, and here at the end you guys need to delete. Okay, so when the user goes to, say for example, the display here, and you guys need to set up the payment, and because your banking institution, whatever, they don't know what's happening inside the session. All they know is that this is the amount, and the user needs to pay this amount. That's it. That's all they know. They don't know any. They have no information about your session, what is happening inside your session, what's going on, how much the uh, what happened, what's all the process that the user comes in recommendation. Maybe the user seen the features, maybe the user seen the categories, maybe there is user has signed the consent form. Whatever the user signed, the banking institutions, they don't know anything about the session, because that's not their business. Their business is just to deduct the money. So there are two parts here in the payment. When you guys are going on the payment part, the banking institution, they don't know anything about the session. You as a developer know about the session, and when the user paid, everything is finished here, you guys needs to delete the session. So the user next time gonna come, you guys not gonna charge the user again the same amount of money. So in on it all, you guys needs to remember this request. So keep in mind, whenever you use in session, you guys need to remember the request. Request is very very important part of the Laravel. Every time you guys needs to store something, you guys needs to put a request, because we are storing session, we are setting the session, we are getting the session, and we are removing the session. So this is the session in Laravel, and the session is very very important. Session is one of the most important part of learning Laravel, because Laravel without a session is nothing. Because you guys go ahead and create any website, say be it e-commerce website or social networking website, whatever the website you guys making, session is very very important. Session is a very very important part of PHP. Without sessions, it's just like we have a memory remembering names, the same as websites remembering everything, whatever happens, because every user creates a session. So Laravel's, there's no exception, because Laravel is a PHP framework. So when it comes to session, you guys need to know, you guys need to set the session, get the session, and remove the session. Three things. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe my channel, Wood. If you guys have any question or comment, leave in comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.